Good morning, everybody. It is our Halloween Horror Nights day, so we're actually into the Lights On VIP tour, which I'm super excited about because I love the idea of Halloween Horror Nights, but I do not want to be scared. So this is a tour where we get to walk through 6 of the haunted houses, and they kind of explain like where the scares are, the mechanisms of how the haunted house works. I am super excited for this. It was one of the things I was looking forward to the most on this vacation. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to film, but after we do each of the houses, Haley and I will rate them on a scale of 1 to 5. So other than that, we have dinner at City Walk or Universal Studios, like City Walk area. We're eating at this Mexican restaurant we've ate at before. I'm not sure how much I can film today, but I'll keep you guys updated and come along with us as we do not get scared, hopefully.
Hello friends, we are back home and we were going to do a quick little talk about all the houses. So there was quite limited opportunities for us to video. Actually, there were 0 opportunities for us to video. We were able to take some pictures, so there are going to be some pictures kind of in like a slideshow fashion.
But even still, like those are pretty limited. So there's a couple, like the Insidious one, we only got like 2 pictures.
Yeah,
so
right. And then after the pictures, there's going to be us here currently talking about the houses. So
because we kind of Garrett made a promise. He was like, oh, we'll rate everything on a scale of 1 to 5 after every house, and like we didn't do that, obviously. Like we were with people and that would have been awkward. So.
Yeah, I had planned to, but it just didn't, the flow of the tour wasn't definitely not there. So now we're back home and we're going to talk about some haunted houses.
Okay, so we are here with a little bit of our thoughts and with our ratings about the first house, which was Eternal Bloodlines. So
I thought it was pretty cool. It follows this character named Saskia Van Helsing, and as she teams up with the Bride of Frankenstein to take on Dracula's daughter.
And like essentially like all of the monsters.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was like all of these houses kind of were either scare zones or like took inspiration from previous houses. So I think our guides mentioned something about this one kind of playing into a house that they had done previously. But I thought it was really cool. A lot of the effects were super cool. There was all of these houses have really incredible practical effects, which I think is super neat. The coolest part of the house for me was definitely when you get to see Frankenstein actually get killed. So he gets killed by the Wolfman, and the not animatronic, the model or whatever it's called that they used was super good, super lifelike.
It was like
yeah, it was very cool. I would say that the house is a solid 4 out of 5. Yeah.
I think that it was my favorite. I would give it.
Oh really?
Well, no, maybe my second favorite. So I would probably give it a 4 out of 5 as well. I thought it was really smart of them so Saskia dies because all of the monsters can't be dead because there's
an epic universe that is launching this year.
Yeah.
Or next year. So
they're pretty smart. So 4 to 5 for both of us, and I think it was a really long one. It was really cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. All right, so up next is Goblin's Feast. So this was a house where, a brief synopsis of it, you're invited to a feast with a king, and it's going to be a great time until you get there and you realize that instead of being a guest, you're actually the main course. So the whole point of the house is that you're trying to escape through the Goblin's Feast, and you end up surviving, actually. Mm-hmm. It's one of the few houses that you live, so that's always good, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. You make it out alive. And I think that like my favorite thing, well, there's a couple of really cool things, but it was really cool to see like on the outside when they have the banner where it says Goblin's Feast, and then you kind of like look up behind it on the permanent little area and it says like butcher shop or something. So it's like you don't realize you're trying to go into a party, but you're the meal. So,
yeah. I like this house a lot. I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5. I'm a huge fantasy fan. I love anything related to fantasy, so like ogres, goblins, trolls, things like that. And it reminded me a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons, which I've been playing D&D now for like 10 years, I would say, give or take, almost every single Sunday. We've had a group that we get together and we play. So for me, it was a lot of fun to walk through the house. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Another solid experience. And it's the set design is amazing. Like we'll probably say this a lot, but it was definitely remarkable how they're able to make all these set designs look and how everything comes together. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I thought that the room, it was like the outside room with the water wheel.
Mm-hmm.
That one was really beautiful. So I think set design alone for this one, because I'm not the D&D girly, I would say set design alone and just like all of the details of this one in particular, I would probably also give a 4 out of 5. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was another solid house. It is Major Sweets Candy Factory. So this house was a scare zone last year, is what we're told. We didn't go last year. I would give this house a 3 out of 5. It was not my favorite. I didn't really understand what was going on a lot of the time. I think they're testing candy that kills kids.
They're testing candy that makes kids ravenous.
Oh, okay.
Or like rabid.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't... Yeah.
Like they just go crazy.
It had some cool set design, some cool props and things like that, but rather unremarkable for me. I'm sure that if I knew more about it, or if we actually went through it, it might be higher. It seems like it would also be cooler if we knew, like last year we were like, oh, I remember that scare zone, and now it's into a house. But the one thing I do remember is that you die at the end of this one.
Yeah, you don't make it out alive. I think you get shot or something like that.
Yeah, I think you get whacked with a big old hammer.
Oh yeah,
actually.
But so I think one of the cool things is like Garrett said, there was a scare zone, and in one of the rooms you can tell. So essentially, this is a prequel to the scare zone because they're planning their route, and so there's a chalkboard in his office that has the route, and it is like Universal Studios. You can see like a coffee shop, and that's the Starbucks, and there's things like that. So I thought that was kind of neat. But other than that, pretty, I don't know, just not my favorite. So I'd probably say a 3 out of 5 as well.
So
but
3 out of 5.
That was still cool.
We just finished the first 3 houses of the tour, and now we're eating at the Leaky Cauldron. So I got the fish and chips, and Haley got bangers and mash. And then our friend Seth, who's sitting over there, he got the specialty chicken sandwich. So I don't know. I hope
got fizzy orange juice, which I think
and we got butterbeer as well. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
All right, up next, house number 4 was Insidious the Further. So first off, this house was a 5 out of 5 for me. I thought it was incredible. We could only take pictures in 2 areas. So there's going to be a total of 2 pictures. But walking through the house, I mean, there's no way I could have done it as an actual haunted house because it was so scary.
It was terrifying even with the lights on.
Yeah. There was one scene where there's a bunch of mannequins and a bunch of... Oh, that's true. There's 2 scenes where there's a bunch of mannequins and a bunch of fake mirrors, and I guess the scare actors hide behind the fake mirrors, so when you're looking at a mannequin and then you turn, that you don't see anything, but there's a scare actor behind there. So no way, absolutely no way. I thought it was cool though to get to see the set of Insidious brought to life. I do enjoy the Insidious movies. I think they're pretty good. Once you get past the second one, it kind of falls off a little bit, but Insidious 1, great movie. Really cool to get to see the house from Insidious, as well as I forget the name of the demon, but he's like the long-haired...
The red demon.
No, not the red demon. The long-haired fiend or something like that. He was like pacing around the front. Very cool. Very, very cool. And then you get to actually go into the red-faced demon's like lair, and I guess...
Which is like, that's the second picture. If you rewind and kind of look up there, you can see they actually had the animatronic still up there.
Yes.
And that's not always the case. So that was pretty cool.
We just couldn't, like I said, it was difficult to get pictures, and then the pictures we were allowed to take in the areas we were allowed to take them in, very, very limited for this because of copyright and things of that nature. But I would say it's a solid 5 out of 5. Very cool house, very cool experience.
So I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. Just because I don't know a lot about Insidious, so maybe that's not fair, but terrifying. So if you're after scares, then it would be a 5 out of 5 for you, but I think 4 out of 5 I'll stick with. Okay, house 5, we have Ghostbusters: The Frozen Empire. What do you think?
So I have not seen this movie, so...
Oh yeah, me either.
For us, it was very much like, I don't know anything. But the people that we were with on our tour were the world's biggest Ghostbusters fans. So we definitely got pretty good. We got caught up to date, I'll say that, on what the Ghostbusters is and what this movie is and everything like that. So I liked the set design a ton. I thought it was extremely cool. The effects were awesome once again. But not really knowing anything and not necessarily caring too much about the Ghostbusters IP in general. Just for me, it was just kind of like, yeah, it's cool, but you know, I didn't much care for it outside of that. So I would say it's a 3 out of 5. The effects were really cool. The set design was really cool, but ultimately I don't know anything about it. And I think the big appeal of this house is if you've seen that movie.
It's the fandom.
Right. Yeah. So like for me, didn't really hit. I do like the little Stay Puft Marshmallow dudes.
Yeah,
those guys were cute. I like that a lot. And then there's Slimer as well. And I like Slimer. So
you got a picture with him.
I did.
Yeah.
So that was...
And I thought that the Frozen room was really, really cool too.
Yes, the Frozen room was super cool.
There was a lot of detail in there, and I would probably... That would up it a point for me even almost. But I think for me it's a 2 out of 5. I just didn't really care about much that was going on in there.
Yeah.
So, but it was neat, and there's a lot of details and everything, you know, as is literally every house. So I liked it a lot, but I think I'm still gonna give it a 2 out of 5 for me. You said 3?
3 out of 5.
Okay.
Alrighty, final house was Monstrous, the Monsters of Latin America. So, first and foremost, excuse my pronunciation, definitely not remotely Hispanic or can speak Spanish in the slightest. So, this house, there was 3 separate entities, I guess, in the house. So, the first one is Talal El Puchi, and then there's La Lechuza, and then El Silbon. So, those were the 3 that you got to see throughout the house. They had some crazy cool animatronics in this one. This was my favorite house, without a doubt. It was it was definitely the coolest. I would say that the set design was the best. The story was the most compelling for me too, for some reason.
I feel like it was easiest to follow. Like you could see the what were they called, the pictures, and then you go into the room. Well,
it seemed like this one was telling a story. Monsters Eternal Bloodline obviously is telling a story as well, and it's attempting to communicate a story. But I think that our experience was a little bit lost on Monsters Eternal Bloodline due to only doing the Lights On tour. Because the house was so big and so long that our guest wasn't able, or not our guest, excuse me, our guide wasn't able to tell the story as effectively as she did with this house. Mm-hmm. So for me, this house seemed like the progression walking through the house made the most sense to me. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely adored it. There's two
feel
pictures
like
I think that we have of the animatronics, which are phenomenal. Like some of the coolest I've ever seen.
I feel like it didn't rely as heavily on like actors as well, maybe. I mean, obviously we don't know because nobody was there, but I feel like the monsters one relies really heavily on having actors in every single room, and this one doesn't necessarily.
Yeah,
And maybe that's why it was easier.
I don't know, because we didn't do it with
Yeah.
we didn't do it with actors, so there was 0 in both. But with this one, I will say the animatronics as well as the set design is what sold me. There's, I mean, El Silbón, I guess, has a bag of bones, and there's a part where you actually walk into his bag, like before
that
you
was
go
really cool.
you go into his area. So I thought that was amazing. And then also La Lechuza, which translates to the owl. There is an animatronic of her.
But she is really cool. She is the picture that is the first picture of this house. So it's insane how good it is. And also they made the room smell like poop.
Yeah, they did.
That was crazy.
Smells like bird poop, yes. So once again, I would say this is a 5 out of 5. It was my favorite house. And this is one that I wish we would have done actually in Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
would
could,
agree.
you know, my other 5 out of 5 Insidious, I probably could spend the rest of my life not doing that and be very happy. But with this one, I definitely wanted to walk through it with character actors and things of that nature. So
Yeah. I think it was a 5 out of 5 for me too. I really enjoyed every aspect of it. So yeah.
All right, we just finished our Unmasking the Screams tour through the Halloween Horror Nights. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It was different than what I thought it was going to be. So we didn't really get to walk through the haunted houses with them functioning. They were just not functioning. But that was pretty much the best case scenario, I guess, because we were able to see a bunch of stuff that we normally wouldn't. So I would recommend it. Don't do a private tour. It's too much money. I would just recommend a group tour. But other than that, I mean, we had a good time. So I would recommend it. Hello friends, what an eventful day this was today. We just got back to the resort. It's about 9 p.m. so we were out in the parks from 7 to 9, which is very unlike us. We did the Halloween tour with the lights on. It was pretty cool. I would give it a solid 3 out of 5, almost a 4 out of 5. It would be a lot better if we actually got to see some of the effects. Instead, obviously there's no character actors or anything like that. So it's just basically we're walking through and this person's like, this is where this would happen, or this is where this would happen. I was under the impression that it would be more of, we get to see the effects in action. It's just the lights were on. However, we learned so much about each of the haunted houses and each of the stories that they're based off of. So my personal favorite was the Monsters of Latin America one. I thought that that was the coolest of the 6 that we saw. I think that all of them in their own rights were very cool. Goblin's Feast was awesome. It was basically like a D&D adventure, which I have been playing D&D for 9 years, every Sunday. So I like that one a lot too. The Monsters Eternal Bloodline was also very, very cool. I love the female leads in that. I'm a very, very big fan of that. Then we did the Sweet Shop one, and then we did Insidious as well. Insidious, way too scary. Even with the lights on, I was like, this is not gonna be good. And the Sweet Shop one was also good. I enjoyed that one. But I didn't realize it was a scare zone the year prior. So we got to learn a ton, and we had a great day. So right now we're just gonna wind down and go to bed. Sorry there was not very much footage. I couldn't really record anything while we were inside the haunted houses. And then afterwards we were just rushing to do rides at Universal since we normally don't get a chance. But the content will be back tomorrow for the not so scary Halloween party that we're going to at Magic Kingdom. So stick around, super excited for that, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.